Panic drove you to this video. Maybe one of these days, a determined thought woke you up. A thought that said, I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to feel weak, not being strong, and I don't want to look like this. Something has to change. Now, while that thought might be powerful, it might also be a little bit nerve-wracking, and it might create some form of panic and pain. And if that is the case, you are in the perfect situation. Because Tony Robbins said, if the pain of your current existence exceeds the pain of change, you are ready for change. So now you might be browsing the internet because you think, I gotta do hanging leg raises, crunches, sit-ups, Russian twists to get in shape. Well, the reality is, no, you don't have to do these exercises because they are not serving you these benefits that you are looking for. So in this video, I'm gonna show you a couple of exercises that you might be thinking that you gotta do right now, and I'm gonna tell you why you don't have to do them at all. But I'm not gonna stop there. I'm also gonna show you the proper exercises that you need to do to change your life. And if you might be thinking, did this dude rip a page out of my diary and now read it to the whole world? No. This story is from one of our members. Her name is Lucy from Wisconsin. And her story might line up with yours. Now, the powerful story about Lucy is that she got lots of her results without paying a dime. Lots of the information that she was using to change her life was from our Kettlebell Code ebook. And you know what's great about this ebook? It's for over 40s, and it helps you to get fit, strong, and lean without going to the gym. And I'm going to give it to you right now. It's 100% free. So if you want it, download it right now in the first link in the description or in the pinned comment. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe Stark here. So, that thought is lingering, and now you think, all right, I have to change something. And if you're ready for the truth, I'm going to serve it to you right now. Now, the exercises that I'm going to show you that you're not supposed to do, it's not that these exercises don't serve benefits at all. They are better than doing nothing. And if you do these exercises that are in the video that I'm showing you right now, which I believe don't serve you these many benefits, and you enjoy them, skip the video, disregard it, click the stop button, and keep pursuing these exercises. However, if you're on the fence with these exercises because you think, first of all, they're not fun, and they only train one part of the body, and I'm not getting strong. I don't want to be just skinny. I also want to become strong. Then I have the perfect solution for you. But before we dive in, Lucy's testimony that she sent us a couple of days ago will be attached to this video at the end. Please listen to it because I believe you are in a similar situation and it's going to empower you to build a consistent habit to change your life this year. So in order to avoid that long, cumbersome, and boring journey that Lucy describes so accurately in her testimony, we have to avoid these exercises. So exercise number one that you have to avoid is the plank. Now again, I have to emphasize there's nothing inherently wrong with the plank, but it is boring as hell. An exercise that I would rather have you do is the push-up. However, the push-up is already fairly advanced. And while the plank does train your body, it's an isometric exercise in a static position, which, to be fair, is not a lot of fun. Exercise number two that you have to avoid is the crunch. With the crunch, you are engaging into an effort that doesn't get a lot of return on investment. The crunch is like stocks that I would give you and say, listen, they give you a 20% return on investment. Well, at the end of the day, I have other exercises in store that give you 80% of return on investment. So which one would you rather choose? I think the answer is obvious. With the crunch, you only train your abdominal muscles. And while these muscles are required, they need to be strong, and we have to have a solid core and midsection, there are way better alternatives that you can do. Exercise number three is the hanging leg lift. And while you see me demonstrate the exercise, yes, you see my abs are working. And by the way, I'm gonna unveil the secret as to why I have abs, because I have never done a hanging leg raise in the last 15 years. And by the way, it's a pretty tough and intense exercise. For beginners, no, not at all recommended. The next exercise that you should avoid is the sit-up. This similar situation like with the crunch. Now, in comparison to the crunch, at least we have some hip flexors engagement, so we train a little bit more muscles than just the abdominal wall. But again, it's a cumbersome, boring exercise that only trains a little part of your body. And at the same time, we have some research that points out that this might cause a hazard for your lower back, even though I say if you have the structural integrity and your body is strong, you can do almost any exercise on the planet. And the last exercise is the Russian twist. Also, research seems to point us towards the direction that it might be a little bit of an issue to twist the spine in that position. However, again, if you're strong, it's not an issue. But many people who are just getting started, they will experience this frustration if they do an exercise that is not suited for beginners and that doesn't give you a lot of return on investment. Because again, we are in that midsection, and while I understand that the core in the midsection is important, it's not the perfect exercise for beginners to get started. Now, with these exercises that you must avoid out of the way, we're going to jump into the exercises that I want to recommend you to do. But before, I have to preface this with a very important disclaimer. You might have realized that all these exercises that I showed you that you need to avoid are abdominal exercises, or they focus on one little part of the body, and that is the abs and the core. Now, when people say, well, I need a strong core, they actually are saying something different. They say, listen, I want to make sure that these fat layers right here on my belly, that has to go. And I hate to break it to you, my friend, but listen, you cannot spot reduce fat with a certain exercise. Just because you have a belly doesn't mean that you're supposed to train the muscles that are beneath that layer of fat so that the fat is diminished and goes away. That's not how it works. What you have to do is you have to go into a calorie deficit diet. And you remember Lucy, her testimony in the beginning, which you can listen to in full at the end. She had the same experience. She recognized, wow, I need a calorie deficit diet. This means you have to eat a little bit less than your body is consuming in terms of energy for your body to get rid of these layers of fat. Now, training might help because this might increase the calorie burn, so you increase or you burn more calories because you exercise and do the proper workouts. But there's a saying that goes, you can't out-train a bad diet. Now, with that being said, I still think that exercise, especially the exercises that you're going to see right now, are vital and powerful. You need to do them. And don't think in this dichotomy or in this idea or philosophy of, oh, okay, so diet is the most important and training is not. Because you can do all the diet in your life and then you will just be skinny with flabby skin, right? Your body, if you want to form it, if you want to get some strong and get some muscles, you need to exercise. And no, as a woman, you don't have to be scared. You won't look like a bodybuilder, but we need to build these muscles in order to get strong as well, because strength is very important as we get a little bit older. We need to preserve that muscle because the body wants to get rid of it as we age. Now, one little piece of advice that I also want to give you in terms of diet, and then we'll jump into the exercises because I don't want to make this part too long, is that oftentimes we've experienced that some of our clients, they are ready to tackle diet and exercise at the same time and have great results. And then we have other clients who tackle exercise first because they recognize, you know what, that diet thing is a little bit too intense. And again, it's not supposed to be a diet where you say, well, what happens if I eat normal? No, we have to turn your new normal into a normal, if that makes sense. I don't want you to eat something very outlandish and very strange so that you get back into the old habit that everything breaks down. No, we have to change your habits step by step. So it's supposed to be a lifestyle change. But if exercise is the thing that you're most happy about and that you're excited about, and you say, hey, listen, that diet thing, maybe I'll tackle it later because Lucy did the same thing, then you're totally fine. All right, so here are 4 exercises that you have to do right now. You got to replace those ab workouts with these exercises because they deliver 100%. 100%. So exercise number 1 is the kettlebell deadlift. The deadlift trains your posterior chain. These are your biggest muscles that you have, the hamstrings and the glutes. And when you stand up, you have that straight position. When you go down, you stretch that posterior chain, and it makes you feel really strong and powerful. And the midsection is also involved because a deadlift is almost a full body exercise. It trains every muscle in your body, while the focus is a little bit more on your lower body or the legs respectively. Exercise number 2 is the goblet squat or the bodyweight squat. Let's tackle the goblet squat first. You have the kettlebell right in front of you, and then you squat down as deep into the hole as possible. There are 3 cues that you have to watch out for. We say chest up, hips back, knees out to open up the hips, and then listen to your body and watch how deep you can squat and how deep your hips allow you to squat. Don't get hung up on depth. Just go according to feel and how your body is telling you to squat as deep as possible. Now, the bodyweight squat is a little bit easier. As a matter of fact, it's one of the exercises that we teach our beginners right from the get-go. It's the same principle. We have chest up, knees out, hips back. We do the Olympic squat or the weightlifter squat, so to speak. This is where we get lots of the information from because weightlifting is the epitome of athleticism. And when you squat down, it's the same principle. Make sure you go as deep as your hip allow you to. And when you reach the bottom, that hole that we say, always try to keep up a proud chest. And then you feel again, almost your whole body is working. Exercise number 3 is a kettlebell overhead press, or just simply a press. So what we do is we swing the kettlebell between our legs up high to chest level. Then we insert both of our thumbs inside the window of the kettlebell, and then we grab it with the fingers. We have the elbow close to the body, and then we press it overhead. And as you might realize right now, this exercise trains every single muscle fiber in your upper body. And even if you are a woman, yes, you have to press too. You have to use your arms too. You won't believe how many muscles of the upper body are engaged when you do everyday activities. And we want these muscles to be strong, and this is what the press is here for. And the last exercise that we have is the kettlebell swing. A very simple version that we're going to do. It's also a ballistic deadlift because we use the same principle. We hinge, so we push the hips back, and then we stand up straight. And what we do is we swing the kettlebell between the legs. We wait until the arms connect with the body, and then we stand up. And when you stand up and go into the upright position, keep your arms loose. Don't use your arms to maneuver the kettlebell. And here's the important cue that you have to learn. We say crush grapes, or think about squashing fruit below your feet, because what you have to think about when you swing weights, or at least the kettlebell, is you have to push the ground down, push the floor down so that the kettlebell comes up. And the kettlebell swing is a little bit more of a technical exercise, but if you use the proper weight, for women it's an 8 kg, for men it's a 12 kg, you don't have to be scared. Your spine is not going to explode. You're not going to disintegrate just because you do a ballistic exercise. You can handle this. Just be careful, listen to your body, and start slowly. Now, one thing that you might have realized that these exercises that I've shown you right now are kettlebell exercises. We are a kettlebell channel for one simple reason. We believe that especially the over 40, 50, and 60 group needs GPP. This is what we call general physical preparedness. This is what athletes have to go through before they specialize in their sport. And improving your GPP means improving your general fitness. A little bit more muscle, a little bit more strength, a little bit more speed, a little bit more mobility, a little bit more coordination. This is what we need all at once. And the kettlebell is the tide that lifts all boats of these physical qualities that I have just listed. And it does the job very well. It's a jack of all trades. It's a beast that can take care of everything, especially for people in our age group. Major mistake that I see beginners do is they think they have to specialize in one particular area. And believe it or not, if you think you have to do these ab workouts all the time, you are specializing in core and ab work. And you don't need that. Yes, your core needs to get stronger, but guess what? With these kettlebell exercises that I've shown you, your core is taken care of. We call these exercises systemic exercises that train your whole body. And the benefit that they give you is they give you a lot of return on investment. Yes, they are a little bit tough and it requires a little bit of an intensity grind, but I think you can do this. You always can rest according to your perceived exertion, and you don't have to go balls to the walls like I do it after 15 years of training. Everybody has their own race, but systemic exercises help you to train the body through ranges of motion, through all levels of strength. Every muscle has to work, and that's exactly what you need if you want to get fit, strong, and lean. And the best thing about the kettlebell is you don't even have to go to a gym. And if you need a proper kettlebell, I have one for you right here in the description as well. It's the Pro Kettlebell by my friends Amber and Nikolai Puchlov. It is the best kettlebell, period. And if you want to get one, you can purchase it with the link in my description with a 10% discount if you use the code Lebe at checkout. Now, finally, let me give you a solid recommendation on how to train. So we have these 4 exercises, and now we use a very simple protocol. You do 10 reps per exercise in an unbroken fashion. Unbroken means with as little rest as possible in between the exercises. And that's, again, relative. If you have to rest longer, you rest longer. If you can rest shorter, you rest shorter. And as you do this more and more and more, you get stronger, you get fitter. So once you have done all 4 exercises, you have done 40 reps. It's 4 exercises times 10. And this is 1 set. And as a beginner, you see what your body's capable of, and you maybe do 2 sets, maybe do 3 sets. In between sets, you rest a minimum of 1 minute or longer if you have to. If you are a little bit more advanced, then you can do these 4 exercises for 10 reps and then do 4 sets. That's also a powerful way to get into an advanced level of training. Now, if you're looking for a follow-along workout that gives you that most bang for your buck, I have one right here at the top of the screen that you can do right now, 100% free. It's on YouTube as well. You can click play and you can follow along. And now that we are at the end of this video, let me read you this powerful testimony from Lucy. I think it's going to blow your mind because you are probably going to find yourself in her story as well. It was Monday, January 8th, 2024, when a determined thought woke me up. That thought was simple, with a little bit of panic. I must find a way to reverse what has happened to my body. I can't live like this anymore, looking like crap and not fitting my clothes. So I went through my normal morning routine, coffee and worship, and got dressed in workout clothes. Today, I start the long, boring, cumbersome journey of ab workouts. Maybe, just maybe, I'll be ready for my physical with my doc in October. I said to my husband with sadness and defeat, about ready to cry. Hey, why don't you try the kettlebell? He said in reply, those people are ripped. What? This man doesn't work out. He doesn't even have a kettlebell, so how can he tell me what's better than planks, sit-ups, hanging leg lifts, and Russian twists? However, I love and trust my husband, so I fired up my laptop to go to the YouTube University to learn what the kettlebell is, since I haven't heard of such a way before. I found a coach by the name of Roxy, giving her critique on what she has seen in the gym and provided her do's and don'ts in her video. I wasn't watching her on full screen and my mouse was hovering over the suggested list of videos on the right to watch next. Rosie's video was just okay, and I was about to try her suggestions when I saw where my mouse was pointing. It was showing a thumbnail of this handsome guy called Lebe making bug eyes at Roxy. The video was titled, "The Worst Kettlebell Swing Tutorial I Have Ever Seen." I clicked on the video to find out more, and I was immediately impressed with his calm nature and simply honest coaching style. I appreciate that, Lucy. So awesome. Fast forward to May 28, 2024. My workouts were solely on the workout of the week, number 214, previously called the Iron Flow, 3 times a week with rest days in between. This video was freely offered in the Kettlebell Code ebook by Lebe. You can download it right now in the first link in the description. I was seeing my weight drop but still had 2 belly rolls. I needed to pass my BMI and my physical in October for personal satisfaction. And although the kettlebell workout was working, I developed a desire to see the muscles I'm clearly building with the kettlebell. Once again, Coach Gregory saved the day. He had a solution for me. He explained in one of his videos that the hard reality of looking shredded is accomplished by having a calorie deficit diet. I've heard this time and time again from other fitness coaches, but since Gregory pointed it out and he hasn't let me down yet, I endeavored to go calorie deficit. At this point, I was already tracking my food, but nothing fancy. I wrote down what I had consumed for the day, not what the numbers were showing. Gregory provided the calculations I needed with tips and tricks to adopt, such as the perfect plate or the hunter-gatherer mindset. And the perfect plate is just to make sure that you have a lot of veggies on your plate. And the hunter-gatherer mindset is, hey, if we don't hunt, We don't eat. So if I don't train, I don't eat like crazy. And if I don't train, I make sure I eat a little bit less. After a couple of days of adding macronutrients to my notebook of foods, I realized I was consuming much more than I needed to. And this happens to many people. They tell us, well, I know what I eat and I track it a little bit. No, it has to be accurate. You need a program. You don't drive from New York to LA with, oh, I think I know where I have to go. No, you have a clear roadmap in mind or in the navigational system. It's the same with weight loss and with making sure that you know what you eat and then adjust accordingly. August 4th, 2024, I started the 90 Gains of Kettlebell program by Lebe. So 8 months into a journey, yes, she was spending some money. But it's not necessary. I'm not here to sell the program. I'm here to tell you the truth. I honestly wouldn't have considered this video if it weren't for beautiful Angie, Gregory's better half, because she could do it. I believed I too could do this program and succeeded. Angie's a little bit shorter than me, but her frame seemed similar to mine, so I was comfortable with having her as my visual example to reach towards. And so this is my heartfelt outcry to the ladies out there. You have to train just as hard as us men. If you want to build muscle and get strong, make sure you give it all you got, because you ladies out there, you have a way higher pain threshold than we have. And you know what's crazy about the weightlifting ladies? You know, these ladies who lift hundreds of kilos over their head, they are at an advantage in weightlifting because the lower body from the women tends to be stronger than the upper body in a relative perspective when we compare it to the men. So you need to lift those weights too, and the kettlebell will give you that powerful physique, just like Lucy has, just like Angie has. It is going to change your life if you're ready for it. September 16th, 2024, I could see a major change in my physique, and my clothing options were getting less and less because I didn't have anything to wear that was smaller than a size 6 in USA clothes. So this is what happens, right? This is a downside when you lose a lot of weight and your body's changing. Yeah, you got to buy yourself some new clothes. So a shopping spree is warranted. I started to wonder if all this was due to kettlebell training or calorie counting, and I started going with the latter. Now here it gets very important. Listen to this. I shared my conclusion with my husband, and he disagreed, saying, "You look totally different and better than you ever did before when you were skinny." He's right. Years prior, I was a flabby skinny and no muscle tone. Now I'm muscularly skinny and loving it. Lucy is winning. October 14th, 2024 was my physical with my primary physician. She wasn't shockingly impressed with my transition like I had hoped, and that's why I love her. She's realistic, down to earth, but lacks any sort of critical extremes or emotional outbursts. Great work on dropping your cholesterol and BMI. Was all she said. This made me laugh with joy inside. I did it. I reached my goal, and I did it the healthy, realistic, and calculated way with the help of experts, coaches Gregory and Angie, Gypsy and Guapa from Lebe. My heart is full of gratitude for Lebe. After finishing the 90 Gains of Kettlebell program on October 18th, I snapped some pictures and took a week break. Something odd happened to me during that break. I became too shy to share. I knew I looked great, felt great, and yet I didn't want to toot any of my own horns. Today is December 11th, 2024, and I'm now officially a Lebe lifer. I see more new members on the weekly, and it takes me back to the beginning of this year when I was not happy, full of sadness and panic. Trusting Lebe to turn my fitness life around was the best decision I've ever made, and I can attest that the financial cost is a fantastic deal for the value these coaches provide. So in the spirit of this holiday season of gratitude and gift giving, I'm giving my too shy to share face the stiff arm and submitting this short story to you. Thank you, thank you. Have changed my life for the better. If I could, I would give you all the biggest bear hug you've ever received. Lucy from Wisconsin, USA, and it brings a tear into my eye. I'm so happy for Lucy. Now, the reason I wanted to share this story is not to sell the program. The only thing that I want to sell you is my ebook, because I think that thing can help you. And the best thing about it, it's 100% free. But the message that I want to get across is you can change if you are willing to. And these exercises that I've shown you, leave them away. I can't remember. I don't even know the last time I did any of these exercises. And instead, go grab yourself that kettlebell, get started, and you're about to pivot your life's direction if you do these exercises on a consistent basis. And maybe at the end of this year, I'm gonna receive a letter from you with a similar story like Lucy's. So So here's the next thing that you have to do. Clean and press that like and subscribe button. Share with a friend who's also interested in kettlebells. And if you made it this far, download my free ebook in the first link in the description called the Kettlebell Code. If you're over 40, 50, or 60, you don't have a lot of time, but you still want to take care of your fitness, right? This is where the kettlebell comes in. And these exercises are so powerful that I've shown you, but it's only the top of the iceberg. And so what I want you to do is download that ebook right now, 100% free. You find it in the first link in the description or in the pinned comment. Enjoy.